Hello everyone, Moose Torrent here, and today I just wanted to talk about a few buffs that I might want to pop on the Lawbringer. A lot of characters are getting reworked lately, and I was just thinking to myself, what would I want to see for the Lawbringer? So, first thing that came to mind was changing up his running attack a little bit. Maybe even giving him two different running attacks, but really what I'm concerned with is how the current running attack drains like all your stamina because you hit your opponent in the gut with the spike off the halberd, and then you push him across the map like somewhere between 5 and 7 feet. It makes sense that it would drain that much stamina, but a lot of the time there's not a wall nearby, there's not a ledge nearby, and I just want to throw out a quick attack to catch my opponent off guard. And I think it would be really cool if you could do something like just tap or press R2 and just stab your opponent. And if you wanted to do the full impaling charge and push your opponent across the map as well, you could hold down R2 and do the original attack. Just a little more versatility, I think, would be good for our Lawbringer friend. The second thing I was thinking about, as far as Lawbringer buffs go, is adding some hyper armor to a few of his heavy attacks. Now, I'd obviously have to play around with that to find the sweet spot so it's not overpowered, but I think it could work. A lot of characters do get hyper armor. Berserker gets it like crazy, Highlander, obviously, even Kensei gets some, oddly enough, so it would just make sense for the Lawbringer to get some. I mean, just look at him. He's a huge dude. He's got one of the heaviest sets of armor on in the game. At least, heaviest looking. I know you don't actually get to see how much it weighs, but just looking at the guy, you'd expect him to have some poise. Right now, though, I'm not sure which attacks. I'm just thinking his regular R2s would have it. And obviously, for sure, the unblockable Ad Mortem Inumiku's attack probably should get some. And not a whole lot. I'm not talking about as soon as you push R2, you're getting poise. But pretty similar to how Dark Souls 3 did it, where you're not getting any poise until after you swing. And your weapon is already moved along its path. I kind of just call it like the point of no return. Like, you swing your weapon, and there's a certain point where even if you get hit, your weapon is still going to hit your opponent because you just can't stop it. Even if you stop trying to push or thrust or slash with your weapon, you've already committed to that swing so far that it's going to land. So just a little bit of poise as far as that is concerned, I think would help out quite a lot, especially considering these attacks I'm talking about are pretty slow. They're really easy to dodge, and they're really easy to parry, so I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. Another thing, a very small decrease to stamina cost as far as his attacks are concerned. I'm not sure if this is necessary. Maybe you would just increase his stamina regen a little bit. Well, the Lawbringer doesn't have a lot of quick attacks, so he's not going to be able to attack and then dip out to regain a lot of stamina. A lot of the time you have to set up attacks with a ton of feints and stuff, so a little bit of extra stamina could help. But I'm pretty used to it at this point. I would really just like to see, well, I ran out of stamina there. I know I can't test it, but I would love to just test what a little bit more stamina would do, like 2 more points, 5 more points, or a little bit extra. Well, not extra. The opposite of extra. A little less stamina drain on his attacks would do. Maybe it's just certain attacks. I'm not sure. But I'd like to see a little workaround there. And one more thing. This one might sound a little weird actually, but I would like an increase to the Lawbringer's attack range. Because, I mean, if you think about it, he has a halberd. It's one of the longest weapons in all of For Honor. I don't know if it's the longest, but it's one of the longest. And it really doesn't feel like you can just stay out of your opponent's attack range while still being in your attack range. If you take Dark Souls 3 as an example, if you have a spear, a halberd, some of the great class weapons are long enough to where you can hit your opponent, but your opponent can't hit you. Now, For Honor has a much more dynamic fighting system. The attacks are a lot more fluid, and a lot of them involve your character moving. So they're going to be able to get close to the Lawbringer and get within range of their own weapon. So I don't think it's going to be that big a deal if you just slightly increase the Lawbringer's range. Not a lot. None of these changes are going to be major, just a little tweak. And another thing I wanted to point out in terms of the range, if you look at where he's holding the halberd a lot of the time, he's holding it like in the middle of the staff. I'm assuming that's so he can switch guards from left to right and that sort of thing. But rarely does he take advantage of the full reach of that halberd. And that is one of the main advantages of a halberd, the reach. It's obviously a pole arm, an axe on a long pole, so it just feels weird. Like, you never really feel like your opponent just can't hit you because your weapon's so long. And I don't know that you want that to be the case all the time, but a little bit of it here and there, I think, could be a good thing. And the last thing I was thinking of is pretty generic, just a basic. Add some more moves. I'd like to see some different attacks, maybe an R1 combo. The Lawbringer has never really had an R1 combo. He could do R2 R1. I would love to do like a top light and a side light. Or maybe two side lights going from right to left. Kind of like you just saw there. A swing from the right and then a slash with a blade, followed up by a thrust from the left and the spike of the halberd impaling your opponent in the chest. Like I said, I'm really just going off of just playing the game. I obviously have not tried these things out, so I can't say if they'd be overpowered or not. But I know I mentioned this before, I would love to just get in there and test out a few things just to see what it would do. But that is all I had in terms of buffing the Lawbringer, so I'm going to go ahead and end my commentary, and you guys can finish out the rest of the video without me talking. If you do want to see the rest, not a whole lot, a couple minutes. This is Moose Torrent, and I'll be back with another video for you shortly.
Round 2. Ad mortem inumicus! Victory! Round 3.